Welcome to the ABC channel. I'm Jenna Brophy.
Hi, I'm Ezra Siadu. Companies all over the world are growing these days. Competition is getting tougher and the cost is increasing. Most of these companies are going bankruptcy because they cannot measure their costs. Remember, if you cannot measure your costs, you cannot manage it. Today we're going to talk about the ABC costing.
And now to start with the definition of ABC costing. It is a method that is used to identify the cost of any activity within an organization. The cost of an activity depends on the resources, services, and products used for that activity. And now to introduce Kellen Fillmore, a successful businesswoman who is going to talk about her shoes company and how she manages her costs.
Hello everyone, my name is Kellen Fillmore, and thank you Ezra for having me on your show today. I'm very excited to explain to you guys how we manage our costs here at Fly Kai Shoes.
Thank you so much, Kayleen, for taking your time to come over here and explain.
Okay, so generally there are two methods for calculating costs. There is activity-based and there's traditional costing. With traditional costing, they use a predetermined overhead rate, which is calculated using the estimated overhead divided by the estimated activity. With activity-based costing, we use multiple rates, and for our instance, we're going to use janitorial, machining, and assembly. So for traditional costing, we're going to use $40,000 for the estimated overhead, and we're going to use labor hours as our estimated activity. So we're going to use 4,000 labor hours. So 40,000 divided by 4,000 is $10 per labor hour. So compared to the traditional method that uses only one allocation base, ABC uses multiple. So for our company, we have janitorial, machining, and assembly. And for this example, we're going to have $12,000 allocated to janitorial, $15,000 for machining, and $13,000 for assembly. So we are going to use square footage of our building for janitorial, which is 20,000. So it'll cost, for overhead, it'll be 60 cents per square foot. For machining, we will use machine hours. So we're going to use 5,000, which 15,000 divided by 5,000 equals $3 per machine hour. And finally, for assembly, we will use labor hours. So 13,000 divided by 4,000 labor hours gives us $3.25 per labor hour. So in the previous slide, the numbers that were used were based on estimated activity. So now I'm going to come up with an example using job 442. And for this job, we will use 2,000 square feet, 600 machine hours, and 500 labor hours. So if we look over here, we're going to use the rates that we calculated in the previous slide. So we're going to use the 2,000 square feet times the 60 cents per square foot to give us $1,200. Next, we're going to use the 600 machine hours times the $3 per hour to give us $1,800. And lastly, we're going to use the 500 labor hours times $3.25 to give us $1,625. Once we add that up, we get a total overhead of $4,625. So hypothetically, if we were to use the traditional costing method for job 442, we would use the 500 labor hours times the $10 predetermined overhead rate that we had calculated at the beginning. So that would give us $5,000 per labor hour for overhead. So if we're to compare the two methods, we'll see the overhead that we calculated using ABC, which was $4,625, compared to the overhead we calculated using the traditional method, which was $5,000. So we'll see that with the traditional method, we would be over allocating our overhead. So using ABC, we get a much more accurate cost of overhead.
It was a pleasure having Kellen here with us today to talk about her business.
She showed us how important it is to measure and manage our costs. Remember, if you cannot measure your costs, you cannot manage it.
See you next week.